Alrighty guys, my name's Zach and welcome back to my channel.
As if you're doing my intro.
I'm doing the intro for you.
Oh.
Today we are heading out to...
We're on our way to Onsong Performance once again. So today, you know what, Sarah, you since you're doing the intro, I'm gonna just
cut you out of it.
Yeah.
So we are going to be putting together the bottom half of the engine. That is how much I know. So I'm heading out with Zach today and yeah, we're gonna have a good time. So catch you when we're there in a little bit.
What do you think of all their cars?
I'm very concerned.
You're very concerned. What about this one in front?
Look at all the parts.
Yeah.
What are we gonna scrap?
Look at all their tyres.
Tires. Chuck some on, lose some skids.
Yeah, what do you reckon about all these?
What happened to it?
What do you mean?
Why is there a BMW there? Can I have it?
You can have it.
Can I have it?
You can go for a drive in it if you want.
Cool. Here we are.
We love off-roading.
Oh, why do they have so many cars?
We don't know.
Oh, a little dam for a swim lane. I can't wait for that.
Oh, you're funny. Rightio, so we are back at Onsong Performance. We have the freshly painted... Oh god, what did I do here? I only painted the top of it. Why am I that useless? Alright, yeah, so we got the freshly painted block inside the engine room, which is sick. So now today, we are going to be building the bottom end. I don't think we're going to get started on the top end just yet. But yeah, today we want to have this thing sorted. So that means installing all the rings, pistons, everything, crankshaft, torque all that up properly. And so tomorrow we can start working on the head maybe. And then we can make them up and then goes back in the car. Yes, all the cleaning has been done. Every single thing that needs to be here to rebuild the engine is here. It's gonna be an absolutely sick couple of days. I hope you guys are keen. So another thing that Max also picked up while I was away, or while he went to the coast yesterday, he also ended up getting a few things ready for when we started up for the first time. So we ended up getting a new oil filter, also a new gasket for my turbo, which is sweet. We also got this, a brand new CI heavy duty clutch. So this one right here, it's got a little bit more meat than what my last one did, and this one will be fine at least until I need to replace the transmission, because if you guys remember, the transmission in the R33 isn't too healthy at the moment, so it's making some very loud noises. So this one here is going to be fine, just for learning. It's a really cheap clutch, so I can change it out sort of whenever I need to, which is awesome. And it's still heavy duty, which means it's still going to hold up to what the stock power that I'm going to be putting out on this thing, so that'll be fine. We also got the flywheel that came out of the car. That's all machined now, that's all ready to go back on. So yeah, I also realized somehow, for some odd reason, it's actually also got ARP studs for the flywheel, which is awesome. So someone's already done that, which is wicked. Okay, I've had my fun. Yeah, this is all mine.
Wow.
This is all, that's my car.
Better not get the parts mixed up. I can have a few extra bolts.
No, it's not like Lego. This engine here, what is it?
Where you can have spares. Wait, it's a 8-cylinder.
Yeah.
It's not a V.
It's not a V.
Oh, is it a V? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, V. Okay, so it's V8.
I've been trying to teach you the whole time about V8s and straight sixes and stuff. Yeah, so that's a V8, and that's all his parts over there. But yeah, all this bench here, that's all mine.
Oh, what's the Skyline?
What's the Skyline?
Is it a V? It's a straight 6?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inline 6, straight 6.
Inline 6, yeah.
Yep.
Straight 6, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Straight pipe.
And also, Sarah's never seen a car without an engine. Alright, ready?
Oh dear Lord.
What's wrong with it?
That's so concerning. The amount of
it's not
tape
broken.
that has been used.
The amount of what?
The amount of gaffer tape.
That's from factory.
Really?
Yeah.
That does not look stock.
It is 100% definitely stock. I'm not joking.
I don't believe. Wow.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
It's an education.
And Max also went up and got this thing machined yesterday, so that's all looking good. And also, if you guys remember, we put some JB weld in here. We actually ended up welding that one in properly. And also...
Yeah, so JB Weld was sort of just a last resort. I figured it was better than nothing. But,
yeah,
I spoke
definitely.
to our man at the machine shop, and he was happy to weld it up for us, so he actually pulled the JB Weld out.
Yep.
Welded it up properly, which is, you know, much more.
Yes, I feel a bit, yeah, I feel a lot happier that that's in there. And then also, oh, that has blinded me. God damn it. Yeah, we've also put a helicoil into that that last stud there, so that way that's all going to be fine and ready to go. So it's a little bit better. Oh well, It's sort of like the last resort because we couldn't get that stud out or tap it or do anything weird.
Yeah, hell was the last resort for it, but it works.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. We can still talk it down to everything it needs to do. Yep. So yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
So yeah, that head is now 100% sorted. The only thing we're going to do now, you said that because we've welded down here.
Yeah, because it's been welded, they've put a fair bit of heat into this head.
Yep.
So I'm a bit worried that this heat here in this area has maybe just deformed these seats just a little bit. So I just want to do a quick grind on those seats. But the problem we're having is that I can't actually find our pilot bit for the grinding tool for the 6mm pilots for the RB25. It's probably been a good 3 or 4 years since I actually did an RB25 head, so I have no idea where that pilot bit's gone. I can't find it anywhere. So our mate Pete next door, he's used to own a foundry in Brisbane. He's still got a lot of machining tools. He's got a lathe over there. So we just picked the biggest pilot we've got, which we never use. And we're going to take it next door and get him to actually run it down on the lathe to make a new pilot for this head, so we can grind those seats.
Sounds good.
So we'll give them a grind and another lap just to make sure. Just because there could be just a little bit of deformation from the heat. Yeah,
they are. I can understand that. And then that head will be ready to pretty much bolt straight up.
Ready to assemble, and then it can go on the block.
Sounds good. Rightio, so now we're in the engine room, getting this thing ready to start rebuilding. I mean, the first thing is to put the oil squirters in. Not the most coolest thing in the world, but the first thing.
First thing that's getting done.
Beautiful. So we've almost installed all them, about to torque them up.
Yep.
I feel like this is going to be a lot of talking to spec sort of stuff. You can't just go rattle gun tight.
I was just going to go reefing on them.
A couple like a duggers and she'll be right. Yeah, so they'll go in first, and then bearings, and then crankshaft.
Start on digging and main clearances.
Yep. Oh yes, first. We haven't done clearances yet. Yes, there you go. So we're going to do that today. Yes.
Clearances first, and then installation.
So we've just been doing clearancing probably for the last, I dare say, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours now. Crankshaft's looking actually really good. All of these, none of them are out around, which is awesome. And basically with all these bearings here, we measured them all up, and we're getting roughly around about, let's have a look, between 1.5 and 2. We did have one that was a little bit out around, but that's actually the bearing itself, which went up to 3. But yeah, that's not an issue at all. They will be completely fine. However, the issue that we run into right now is actually the micrometer, or the micrometer, whatever you want to call it. The smallest one it has is a little 2-inch fitting there. So when you try and, obviously measure anything, so it's actually just not small enough to actually fit inside the rod. So we won't be able to put them in today, which is really unfortunate. Because I really wanted to get this sort of bottom end done today, but there's some other stuff we can do. You can weld the fitting into the sump. It's just a whole lot of other things we can actually get done today. So yeah, today is not going to be massive, but clearancing does take a very long time. So if you guys remember in the previous video, we actually have done the rings. We've measured these all up and they're all fine. They all had about I think these ones here had a 0.18 of a mil. These ones here were a 0.20 of a mil. So yeah, they're all gapped up perfectly, which is awesome. Sort of a whole lot more clearancing to do. But this is the last thing we have to do, is do these pistons right here. That last little bit of clearancing, and then we can start throwing together the whole engine. So yeah, it's really cool.
Just to be sure, after the machine shops welded that, we just wanted to cut the seats again, just to make sure that those valves, the seats are okay and the valve's going to seal properly. So I just double checked with the refacer what these are actually dressed to, and the valves are dressed to 45 degrees, which is pretty normal. So I checked that before I dressed the stone.
Yep.
So I just dressed the stone to 45 degrees. I just ground the seats. I didn't want to grind the valves if I didn't have to, because they're actually pretty good. So.
Very cool, excellent.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. So we'll lap them up, and then the head's ready for a final clean and can go in the engine room also.
Sounds good, awesome. Rightio, so now these two valves are all lapped. This head is ready to go in the engine room and ready to get assembled. God, this is so cool. Okay, so another thing I thought I could quickly do today was to finally degrease this engine bay. So if you guys can see all down there, it's just horrible, and down there it's just, yeah, inch thick of just grease and grime and oil and coolant and just a mixture of every single living particle known to man from Japan and Australia. So yes, I'm going to quickly go over all of that, finish that all up, and then hopefully we have a nice enough engine bay. Originally I was going to paint it, but there's so much in the way that I just didn't want to do it. So you guys remember, we picked this up from Motorsports Accessories in Brenda. We have one welding fitting, then we also got two AN8 fittings and rubber hose. This is for the head drain. If you guys remember the Ross Performance head drain that we have right here. This right here will stop our head from pulling up and filling up with oil and then not being able to drain it fast enough. So we ended up getting that external head drain, which basically goes straight into the back of the head. And now what we have to do is fit this hose up to the back right there. So now we'll have to do weld in this, then we can attach that hose, and then yeah, that'll all be really cool. So anyway, let's head out there and let's get to welding.
Yeah, I would like to put it further back into some if I could.
Yep.
But the shape of the R33's cross member, like that's where the engine mount, I've marked where the engine mount is level with the chalk. Yeah, so I wanted to weld it further back, but we'll have to put it up here just so it's safe and it's easy to get at. There's nothing in the way here, whereas I'm pretty sure if I put it back here, you got your cross member, you got your power steering lines running right up here. Chances are it's going to be right in the way of always trying to access it. So
yep.
It should be a pain. So as much as being forward is a pain, the fact that the line's got to be longer, it's just safer. It's going to be a lot easier to get at all the time. So
sounds good. Let's get to welding.
Let's do it. So of course, I picked the bluntest drill bit in there.
This is some quality content coming from the ZacBaldy YouTube channel. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you get to paint this when we're done, so...
Oh, really?
Yep.
You're joking.
No.
Well, there you have it, guys. We are back home at the moment, and yeah, today was just the final little bit of prep work just before we start building the engine. So before I get there again, I believe Max is going to end up clearancing the rest of those bearings in the rods. So that's going to be awesome. So hopefully by the time we get back there, we should be ready to completely assemble the bottom end and the head, make them together, put them straight back in the car, and then run it up on the dyno, which is going to be awesome. So before then, I think we have about 2 to 3 days back at home. So I'm going to definitely try and get the Falcon sorted. So much work to do at home over the weekend, and try not to sort of fall victim to this coronavirus thing that's going around at the moment. So yeah, anyway guys, hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.